So it's time to make my pizza Bianca with kale and meatballs. I just got some store-bought pizza dough and I'm spreading it out on a baking sheet. I put a little bit of olive oil down on the baking sheet first. You want to make sure that the dough isn't very cold because it'll be easier to spread out. We're going to move it and we're going to get started on our bechamel. We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted, 2 tablespoons of flour. We're making a roux, and then we're going to add milk to it to make the cream sauce that we're going to put on the pizza. Melt the butter and the flour together until the butter has absorbed all of the flour. And it's called pizza Bianca because there's no red sauce on this pizza. Stir this for like a minute or so just to cook out that raw flour flavor. We're going to add 1 cup of room temperature milk. You want to make sure all of the ingredients are room temperature so nothing seizes. 1 bay leaf, just for flavor. It just kind of adds a deep warmth. Some salt, some pepper, and a little bit of nutmeg, about 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg to give the cream sauce some flavor and some depth. And last but not least, we're going to add 1 garlic clove, just to infuse a little bit of garlic flavor into this bechamel. I'm just going to kind of leave it whole. Whisk it for like 2-3 minutes until it thickens. All right, so the bechamel is done. And I'll show you with a spoon what it's supposed to look like. We'll turn it off. And what I do is I usually dip in the back of the spoon and then I go like that. And if it stays separate, then you know it's ready. Now, time to take out the bay leaf. We're done with that. And we're also going to take out the garlic clove. We take my pizza dough. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on the top. And then we're going to pour the bechamel take a spatula and just spread the bechamel and leave about a 1-inch border. Now we need the mozzarella. So we've got some shredded mozzarella. The mozzarella melts beautifully. We're gonna add 3/4 of a cup. Moving on. So I've got my 8 meatballs left over from before. I cut them all in half. It's gonna make it a lot easier to put them on the pizza. We're gonna top it with more cheese. 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese right over the top. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in a 450-degree oven for about 15 minutes. So it's time to add the kale on top of the pizza. We're taking 2 medium-sized kale leaves. I'm taking out the rib. You feel like you're eating some greens in the whole thing, so you feel better about eating it. What I want to do is just kind of chop the leaves. You want to kind of cut them small so that the pizza doesn't have to be in there for too long. Take the kale and just spread it on top of the meatballs. So now I take a little bit of olive oil and I just drizzle it right over the top because you want to keep the kale nice and moist. And the final touch, a sprinkle of salt. So we're going to put this in the oven for another 10 minutes at 450 degrees. Look at that. So now what I want to do, loosen the bottom with a spatula. I take my pizza cutter and we're just gonna cut the pizza in half. I wanna taste one of the meatballs and I wanna taste some of that kale. Ooh, it's hot. So creamy with the nice crispy kale chips. All right, up next, one of Todd's favorite ways to eat meatballs, my meatball paninis.
It's the perfect meaty sandwich. Leftovers never tasted so good.